What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the video. Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about why the Miami Heat are currently the scariest team in the NBA, poised to make a finals run. Now, before we get into it, make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. And yeah, let's get right into it. So I know you guys might be thinking, if you guys are not, Heat fans watching this video, oh, you're biased, you're on a Heat channel, obviously you're going to say they're the scariest team. No. I'm going to give you guys actual realistic reasons as to why the Heat are the scariest team in the NBA as of right now, and why they're probably the deepest team in the NBA as of right now as well. Now, I know the Warriors and other teams like that are rolling currently. They're doing amazingly well, and shout out to them. They're having a great season. Teams like the Warriors, the Suns, the Brooklyn Nets. But I really don't think in a 7-game series that the Miami Heat should be taken lightly against any of those teams. And I do think that they can beat all those teams. The Bucks, the Warriors, the Nets, the Suns. I really do think the Miami Heat have a pretty good chance of beating those teams in a 7-game series come playoff time. And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why this is the case. So let's get right into it, man. Obviously, if you guys are Heat fans, you guys will probably know the Heat are on a 3-game winning streak right now. Just beat the Magic tonight by 10. Obviously, the Magic were missing a lot of key players, but the Heat were as well. Jimmy Butler came back, though, which was a really good sight to see. He had a pretty solid game with 17 points and 11 rebounds. But the star of the Heat team was the depth. Omer Yurtseven with 16 points and 15 boards. He is absolutely tearing it on the glass. He's averaging a absolutely absurd amount of rebounds for the amount of minutes that he's playing. And the thing about him is that he has had double-digit rebounds in his last 5 games. 4 of them have been him coming off the bench, and he's had 10 to 12 plus rebounds in all of these games. Like I said, he had 15 tonight. He's been amazing, filled right into that starting spot, and he's done really well. Max Strus with 13, Gabe Vincent with 13. These guys have been hooping. The fact that the Miami Heat are currently 21-13, tied for they're 1 game, half a game behind the Bucks for the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're currently the 4 seed, half a game ahead of the Cavs as the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. And had missed Jimmy Butler for 15 games and Bam Adebayo for I think 16 games now, is incredible. And I really don't think anyone predicted this Heat team to do this well without these 2 All-NBA players. They just lost Kyle Lowry today. They were missing Hero for quite a bit as well. PJ Tucker has missed time. Markieff Morris has not played since the incident in Denver. Dwayne Dedmon has missed a couple games now. Victor Oladipo has not even played a single game in this whole season, and they are still 21-13, having played the lowest amount of home games in the NBA this season. Think about that. No team has played more road games than the Miami Heat. And with them playing the most road games, with them going through as many injuries, Caleb Martin, I didn't even mention him, who had a career night of 28 points and did not even play after that until today because of COVID protocols. The Miami Heat have been through everything, basically, and they are still fighting. 21-13 is incredible. I don't really care what anyone says. That is a major W for the team right now, because I don't really think anyone expected them to be this good. And the reason why I think this team can be so great is, when you look at tonight, Tyler Hero had 2 points. And people will say, oh, he had a terrible game. He got ejected. Cool. You can argue about the call. I thought that was a nonsense call by the ref, but it's whatever. He probably shouldn't have lost his cool. He had 2 points. That's fine. But the things that Tyler Hero can do are more than score the ball. And I think that's something that a lot of people have to realize. Tyler Hero is a bucket. We all know he's a bucket. We all know he's a guy who can score in bunches, be a microwave guy, as he has done off the bench this season. But the thing about Tyler Hero is that he's not just a shooter, he's not just a scorer, because a lot of people coming into the NBA, when Tyler Hero was at Kentucky, they kind of just labeled him as a shooter. And Tyler Hero himself, he was like, I want to prove to people that I can put the ball on the floor and handle the ball and score off the dribble. And he did that. So now people just boxed him into the category of him being a scorer. People are saying, oh, he can't do more than just score the ball. He's just like a Jordan Clarkson type player. Tyler Hero is not just a microwave guy. He's not just a Jordan Clarkson. He's not just a Lou Williams. He can do more than both of them. And that's no disrespect to Lou or Jordan Clarkson, because I think Lou is a very underrated player in NBA history. And Jordan Clarkson just won the 6th Man of the Year award. So no disrespect to those two. But I think Tyler Hero has a very underrated playmaking ability, which is why he was looking up to Devin Booker, not just because of his scoring. Devin Booker, before Chris Paul came to the Phoenix Suns, was having games where he was consistently putting up 7-8 assists per game. I'm pretty sure he averaged 6 assists or 7 assists for a full season. And he has shown the ability to be a really good playmaker, and so has Tyler Hero. Not only that, Tyler Hero has been one of the most underrated rebounding guards in the NBA as well. Tonight he only had 2 rebounds, but throughout his career, he's had big rebounding games. I remember he had a 15 rebound game once against the Bucks last year. He's a guy who can just do more than score the ball, and that's why he's such a valuable asset to this team. Tonight he took up the Kyle Lowry role because Kyle Lowry was missing. Jimmy Butler, he only had 4 assists, but guess what? Tyler Hero had 8 assists, and that just kind of just shows you how versatile this team is. Even when guys are missing, you can plug and play people in multiple positions. When Jimmy Butler was out, we saw a lot of guys trying to fill his void. Obviously, you can't really do that because Jimmy Butler is an all-NBA player, and you can't really fill his impact by a substitution player. And you saw that tonight. Jimmy Butler coming back really made a presence at the free throw line. He took a lot of free throws tonight compared to the rest of the team. I'm pretty sure he took majority, over 50% of the free throws. I think he took 11 free throws and the team had 18 in total. So that just shows you his void that he filled, that what we were missing without him. And that just shows you how, like I said, how versatile this team is. Max Strus and Gabe Vincent have been hooping so well without, Jimmy Butler, Bam, Kyle Lowry now, Tyler Hero for a stretch. They've been doing really well, and that's why these guys have been signed, and that's why the Heat have scouted these guys. Strus is a guy who's just not a shooter, in my opinion. Neither is Gabe Vincent. These guys can't shoot the ball, but the most wrong thing you can do is box these guys into categories that they're not. Max Strus is he's a really good shooter, but he's not just a shooter. He's sneaky athletic. He can finish at the rim. I think he's a pretty underrated defender. Gabe Vincent, I think, is a really good defender for his position, and I think he's a really good playmaker for his position, which he doesn't really get the recognition for. And now this year, I think he's taken the biggest leap in his shooting. I think last year, I was kind of like, what is Gabe Vincent going to do on the offensive end? And then this year, he's really taken that step to being a really good shooter, and his playmaking has also improved for him to be a very valuable asset. We've even seen guys like Udonis Haslem come in and give big minutes as well. And not to mention, you're missing Victor Oladipo. When you add Victor Oladipo into this mix, man, this Heat team is scary because you have a closing lineup of Butler, Lowry, Oladipo. Obviously, Lowry played point guard and all that. But Butler, Lowry, Oladipo, Tucker, who I didn't even mention, and Adebayo, who's been out for more than half the season. Man, that's ridiculous. Like, defensively, that's like suicide. How are you gonna score on that team? I really don't know. That team can switch everything. I'm honestly fine if Kyle Lowry switch onto a center, because I know Kyle Lowry is tough. I know he's, we all joke about Kyle Lowry because of one reason. NBA fans, you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But he's tough, and he got that thing on him, and he can definitely guard bigger guys. So I'm not worried if Kyle Lowry gets switched onto a big. I'm not worried if Bam Adebayo gets switched onto a guard. And I'm not worried if PJ Tucker gets switched on. He can guard 1 through 5. Jimmy Butler can guard 1 through 5. Oladipo, maybe not 5s, but I think he can guard 1 through 3 and maybe some 4s as well. So I think that, this team is very deep, man. I think this team is scary come playoff time because, like I said, I just rattled off so many names of guys who have been hooping right now throughout the stretch. Omer Yurtseven, I cannot really give this guy enough credit for what he's been doing, man. I had skeptical thoughts about him. I didn't know if he was completely ready, because he's a guy that he's like a guy you have to dump the ball into the post and you have to let him go to work for a little bit. He's not going to be, he's not going to be like a modern day center who's athletic and all that stuff. And he is. I'm not saying he's not athletic, but he's a guy that needs his post touches. He's sort of like a LaMarcus Aldridge type player, and I didn't know how long it would take him for him to fit in the system, but it's been a lot quicker than I thought. And credit goes to the coaching staff and UD and everyone who's been mentoring him, because they've been doing a tremendous job with him, I guess. But yeah, man, this team is scary. And when you compare it to teams like the Nets, I honestly do think the Nets you know, if we played the Nets, I would honestly pick the Heat. And I would advise anyone else to pick the Heat in a series because I know the Nets are really good. But I think the Nets have flaws, man. The Nets do have flaws that can be exploited. They have firepower. You know, the Nets do have firepower. You know, James Harden obviously coming into his own. KD, I think the best player in the NBA. Whoever, depending on who you ask, he's top 3. You can't even say he's not top 3. Patty Mills has been lighting it up. Joe Harris. Kyrie Irving is a wild card because you don't know if he's going to play. You don't know if he's going to get traded. You don't know what's going to happen with him. But if he plays, I don't care if it's just road games. I don't care if it's just one game. He's going to have an impact. So, you know, the Nets team is a very, very, I think, good team in my opinion. But I do think the Heat are deeper. When you look at the guys coming off the Nets bench, right now, their 6th man is James Johnson. But that's obviously without KD. It'll probably be DeAndre Bembry and James Johnson. Their starting lineup will probably be Patty Mills, Harden, KD. I even forgot about Joe Harris, and then either Claxton or Aldridge. And then their 6th man will probably be the other center, Bruce Brown, DeAndre Bembry, James Johnson, and Blake Griffin / Paul Millsap / Javon Carter. That's solid. But when you look at the Heat's bench, man, Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo, those are 2 guys who Victor Oladipo last season with the Rockets averaged 20 when he was fully healthy. Not fully healthy, sorry. When he was not fully healthy, he averaged 20 points per game. And Tyler Hero this season is averaging about 22. So that's 40 points per game. You know, if we're saying that Victor Oladipo is going to come back at least 80% of what he was off the bench, because I don't think Victor Oladipo is going to start. I think they're probably going to have Duncan start because he fits the starting lineup better with his off-ball pressure and all that. And Tyler and Vic can be coming off the bench. Then you have to account for 10 points of Max Strus's shooting. He's averaging 10 points this season. Then you have to account for Dwayne Dedmon, who I didn't even mention. He's been such an underrated pickup. And then Markieff Morris, man, like, I think that's a deeper team. And obviously, it's not just about depth. It's also about matchups. You can put a PJ Tucker on Kevin Durant. You can put a Jimmy Butler on James Harden, or a Jimmy Butler on Kyrie Irving, and put Kyle Lowry on the other one. You can hide guys like Duncan Robinson if you want to. Obviously, they'll try to hunt the mismatches, but then you can also use the 2-3 zone to your advantage. And that's where you can mess up a team like Brooklyn. Bam Adebayo can be switched on to anyone on that team. And I just think that you have the guys, the personnel. PJ Tucker, Kevin Durant said he's the toughest guy to score on. So I think against a team like the Nets, you're able to stop them. The Bucks, obviously we have a pretty, you know, documented rivalry with the Bucks, but I think that the Bucks can be beaten as well. You know, the Bucks are a solid team, man. The Bucks just came back against the Celtics on Christmas Day and won that game. They're still missing Brook Lopez, so we haven't seen them with Brook Lopez. But I still think we have the perfect game plan to slow down Giannis Antetokounmpo in the NBA. I think if you look at Giannis's averages against the Heat and Giannis's averages against the rest of the NBA, it's night and day. Now, the reason the Bucks won the series last year is because the other shooters started to get going. You had Bryn Forbes. You know, don't even let me get started about him. He had a crazy series. Dante DiVincenzo was hitting shots. PJ Tucker, who was on our team, was hitting shots. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. The others got involved. Giannis had a solid series, but Giannis wasn't the Giannis who won the Finals MVP. He was still contained. And I think a team like this, who has guys who can scramble, who has guys who can switch 1 through 5, so we don't have to send as many bodies as Giannis. When you put PJ Tucker on Giannis, you don't have to help all the time because you know PJ Tucker can do a solid job on him. You know, Bam can be the only guy who helps, and then we'll see how, you know, that happens. Last year, it was Trevor Ariza, and no disrespect to Trevor Ariza, but I'm taking PJ Tucker defensively 10 times out of 10. So I think if you were to put this team against a team that went to the finals in 2020, I think this team would win. And that's just a testament to how good this team is, because that team went to the finals. And I know teams have gotten better since then, but I just think that the Heat are one of the scariest teams, if not the scariest team in the NBA, just because of all the reasons I mentioned. The depth, the coaching. I don't even mention the coaching of Eric Spoelstra, who deserves so much credit for what he's done. I don't want to see Heat fans disrespecting Spo again, man. Unless he falls off a cliff, which I don't expect him to. He is the best coach in the NBA, because what he's doing with this roster, I think he should be in the consideration for Coach of the Year, because that's how good he's been doing this season. So shout out to Spo, shout out to Pat and Andy for putting this team together. This team It's full of dogs and full of guys who fit the culture. And don't even be surprised if we make a move this out in the midseason. I don't know who it'll be, but the Heat always do something in the middle of the season to try to you know, move the needle. So it might happen, it might not. We'll see. I don't really know what contracts there are to trade. The biggest one is Duncan, but I don't think Duncan will get traded. So then you're asking me who else will we trade? I have no idea. Maybe Akpala. I have no clue. We'll see. But yeah, just be on the lookout for this team, man, because this team is scary dangerous, especially when you overlook them. And that's when the Heat are at their most dangerous. I'm going to close off on this. The Miami Heat are the most dangerous team in the NBA when they are overlooked and when people don't give them the recognition. Last year, everyone was expecting them to repeat what they did the year before when they went to the finals. And maybe it got to their head. Maybe they had injuries. Maybe they had, you know, the shortest offseason. That was their excuse as well. But forget all that. I'm just saying the Miami Heat are at their best when they are overlooked by the national media and when they are overlooked by the rest of the NBA fans. And that's why I think they are such a dangerous team, because, you know, no one is really talking about how they've stayed afloat so far. Besides Heat fans, I haven't really seen anyone else talking about how they've been super, you know, consistent without Jimmy Butler, without Bam Adebayo, without Tyler Hero for stretches, without Caleb Martin, without Dwayne Dedmon now, without PJ Tucker, and now without Kyle Lowry. Man, this team deserves a lot of credit, and I think this team is the scariest team in the NBA when fully healthy, and I think this team is the deepest team in the NBA when fully healthy. So that's where I'm going to close off on. So make sure you guys let me know down in the comment section below. NBA fans of other teams, I'm ready for all the smoke. If you guys want to argue, please feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'm all for it, man, because you guys can come back to this video if this flops. That's fine. It's just my bold prediction, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm firmly standing on this, and I'm going to end off on that. So I'll see y'all later. Have a nice day. Peace.